Racing to the 2020 Breeders' Cup, and this time let's take a deep dive into the Turf Mile. This race usually features a fast pace early, and sometimes they can come home late like Uni did last year. Let's take a look at some of the top 8 or 9 contenders and some of the key factors, and they'll be mowing the lawn in the 1 mile turf. Starting off with Beau Recall. She's a proven closer, and she has done well against some of the top contenders in this race. She has held her own against Uni, and Uni most likely will be one of the top 2 favorites in this race. Of course, a nice win in the Distaff Turf Mile on the Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby card. 0 for 2 at Keeneland, and that may come into play as some of these horses do have some horse-for-course angles at Keeneland. Digital Age was an impressive 9-1 winner on Derby Day. He won the Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, training well, and he's going to cut back to the mile distance in the Turf Mile. There was some talk that he might go 1.5 miles, try to take on the turf, but it looks like he's going to cut back to the mile. And Digital Age, trained by Chad Brown, should be one of the top 3 favorites in this mile turf event. Ivar has exploded late in the Keeneland race the last time out, the Shadwell Turf Mile. Picked up the win at 14-1. Interestingly enough, trained by Paula Lobo, who won the Kentucky Oaks a while back with Farda Amiga at 40-1. Meanwhile, this horse has won twice in his last 3 races. Ivar has. He won on the front end, going wire to wire at 14-1, and then the last time out, he came from off the pace and exploded late, shading a 133 and change for the mile. Smokin' Joe Talamo rode him the last time, and Ivar comes into this race with some good form with 2 wins in his last 3 starts. Kameko is one of those horses coming over from Europe, and we could get 4 or 5 of them here in this race. I like this horse the most because he's 4 for 9 wins. He's ran in some of the big dog races, the Investec Derby, the Juddmonte International. But what I like about this Son of Kitten's Joy is Europe has had a lot of small fields in some of their stakes races this summer too. So the possibility of adding Lasix and the fact that I think he's going to benefit from a little bit of cover. He's had some of the small fields that hasn't really been able to get that cover, and I think he's going to have an explosive kick here. Kameko, one of the top contenders for the Turf Mile. March to the Arch, he's going to be more of a long shot. Comes in off a 2nd place finish at Woodbine in the Woodbine Mile. That was the Starship Jubilee. The veteran campaigner, you know, he does his best running off the pace. He's one of those horses, though, that can run inside and run outside of horses. I like his versatility. He doesn't need a perfect trip to finish on the board, and March to the Arch might be one that spices up the exotics a little bit. Mo Forza has taken advantage of the smaller fields out west the last couple of races, back-to-back wins. Now he's going to try to ship to the Midwest and pick up the victory. Mo Forza for Peter Miller. You've got Starship Jubilee. The mare took on the boys the last time and beat him in the Woodbine Mile. The former claimer has had a strong campaign this year. Last year she raced against the fillies. This year she took on the boys in the Woodbine Mile. Picked up the win the last time out. You know, she's another one in good form. She's a closer. Now she's facing other closers in this race, and the pace will probably be a little bit quicker. She may get a little bit further behind than she did in some of her last couple of races. And then rounding out the top contenders is Uni. First lady winner at Keeneland twice. She's 2 for 3 at Keeneland. Won the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. Came from just off the pace at almost 4-1 odds. That looked like a little bit of a gift after the race. But when she runs a race, she can run a 132 and change mile, and there's very few horses that can run a race like that. So Uni, definitely one of the American top contenders. Remember, the Europeans still in flux. Kameko most likely going to go. Ivar after that win in the Shadwell Turf Mile going. And we'll kind of, as we get closer, we'll redo this race as we get closer to race day with more of the contenders as they're solidified after the pre-entries are announced. Remember, hit subscribe, ring this bell for notifications. We've got previews up of the Classic and the Distaff, also the Juvenile and the Juvenile Fillies. Watch those races to get up to date. A lot of information going to be coming out starting next week, and you want to be up to date on the top contenders and focus in on the workouts and those pre-entry past performances. And remember, ring that bell for notifications as we lead you up to the 2020 Breeders' Cup.